All right, everyone. Well, welcome to Math 135. This is the first video in what will end up being a lot of videos for this course. But this is Schlegel here, and I went over this in class, or I will in future sessions as well. But anytime you see down in the bottom left here a thing that says video link, and eventually these will be blue with a underline with them, or maybe some different color, you can click that and get to the video of me doing that problem exactly. And so that should be the case for every single problem that we do throughout this course, with the exception of the exam. So with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have Math 135, Section 1.1 in this string of videos here. Today's purpose is that you folks will be able to write and solve equations and inequalities in a real-world context, and that you will be able to get really, really good at using Wolfram Alpha. I believe I will go over this in our first class together, but I do not recommend a calculator for this course. I do recommend that you use Wolfram Alpha, the website, as your calculator for this course. So we'll start with some notes today and some examples from the text. But before that, some Schlegel notes, some things that are not in the text that I think would be helpful for you to know. So Wolfram Alpha, again, is a website we're going to use pretty extensively. You'll see me pulling it onto the screen here in just a little bit because I'm going to use it myself as a means to solve these things. And we have some words that are going to come up in this course that we need to kind of make a formal definition for. So profit is the amount of money that is made after costs are paid. So again, profit is the money left after you have paid all of your costs. We'll talk about that extensively through the course. Moving on to revenue. Revenue is what people get excited about, and they shouldn't get excited about it, because revenue is how much money you're making by selling a product. And yes, it's exciting to sell something and make money, but it doesn't matter how much money you make until you have paid your costs off, because you are not really making anything until after costs have been paid. So again, revenue is exciting, but it doesn't matter. No one cares, because all that we care about is profit. Profit is the amount of revenue that is left after costs have been paid. And then the last couple here, folks, we have cost, which is the amount of money spent producing and marketing a product, or basically all of your operating costs to do your business and produce whatever it is you're producing, or do whatever work you are doing. And then lastly, we have break-even, which occurs when revenue equals cost. And although this sounds like it's not exciting, it's when profit is zero. So you have made no money. And the reason that is exciting is because you are at the place where you have also not lost money. So if you are able to break even, at minimum, you will not go out of business. You're also not going to get rich by breaking even. So the goal is to get to the break-even point and begin making profit, but certainly not to miss breaking even and be losing money every cycle that you are running your business. So as an example for break even, folks, we're going to take a look at this one right here that I just made up off the top of my head a little while ago. And we're going to pretend that my son, who is currently 14 years old in this year of 2021, is going to be starting a lawn mowing business. Very small scale, just him going around the neighborhood mowing yards. He purchases a used lawnmower for $144 and is going to charge $20 to mow any size yard. He also anticipates that he will burn approximately $4 in fuel for every yard that he mows. How many yards does he need to mow to break even? And so let's take a look at this, folks, really quickly. We're going to actually use all four of those vocabulary words that we just talked about in this one problem. We're going to end up using the profit eventually, but we're going to start with revenue and cost. And so I personally prefer to start with cost, because I want to know, gee, what is it costing me to do this shindig? And it looks like my wonderful Apple Pencil is not working, so I'm going to pause this video and be right back once I fix it. Gotta love technology. I'm back in action, folks. So we have cost of doing this job that he's got is we need to be thinking about what are all of the costs involved here. So he purchased the lawnmower, which was a cost. We call that a fixed cost because it's something that only happens once, and we'll talk about that much more later in the course. But he also has, and I can't think of the specific term for it right now, but variable costs, where every time he mows a yard, it's going to cost him $4 in gas. And so that cost is dependent upon how many yards he mows. And so if I was to write a quick expression or equation for this, I would say that the cost is equal to $144 because that's how much it cost him to purchase the lawnmower, plus $4 for every yard that he mows. And so that's going to be our cost function for this, folks. Let's take a look. We don't know what the profit is going to be yet, but we could figure out what the revenue is going to be. So again, revenue is the amount of money made by marketing and selling your product, or in this case, mowing a yard. And the revenue is going to be $20 for every yard that he mows. So 20x is going to represent that because x represents the number of yards that are mowed. And if we go back up here to our definition right here, folks, of break even occurs when revenue is equal to cost. And so right now we've got a cost function, we've got a revenue function. We can set these two things equal to each other, and that will tell us when my son would break even. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got the cost is 144 plus 4x is equal to the revenue, which is 20x. And so again, I'm just going to label these up here. This is my cost. This is my revenue. When cost is equal to revenue, my son is going to break even and not be in the hole or in debt with this business. And at that point is when he will begin to start making money. So really quick, folks, let's go ahead and bring in my pal, Wolfram. So coming in from the side over here, again, this website is wolframalpha.com, and I've already gone ahead and typed in my equation there, 144 plus 4x equals 20. And if I go ahead and hit enter, Wolfram will take a moment. It's going to give me a ton of information. The thing that I'm looking for is the solution. And so it's going to tell me that x equals 9. Now, if you're a purist and you want to do all of this by hand, be my guest. I am not going to. So x is equal to 9. That means that, and I always want to write a statement at the end of this because in this class, numbers mean something. We are always going to be doing math in context. This is never, hey, my answer is 9. That is not sufficient. You have to tell me what 9 means because 9 has a meaning. So again, my sentence, folks, is going to be my boy needs to mow 9 yards to break even. Which means that his profit is equal to 0. But again, he does not have a negative profit because he has made enough money to pay off the cost of the lawnmower and the fuel for those 9 yards. Now, if you're anything like my son, you do not want to have a profit of 0. You want to be making money. And so something you may be wondering is, well, how much money would I make if I mowed 20 yards? That's the kind of problem that we're going to explore as we move further into this course, folks. For now, we're going to stick with the break even, but do understand that every yard that gets mowed after 9 yards will produce a profit. So again, the revenue for each yard was $20. No one cared because he still needed to pay off his cost in order to not be in debt. And so again, profit matters, revenue does not. And we'll be exploring that more as we move further through this course.